Okay, we'll probably start kicking off with today's session. It's quite a short one. It's about how I can improve speed and accuracy when booking off system with my team. Talking about the typical pains, things that we could be doing internally to kind of sort certain teething problems out and areas. Just before I proceed, everyone can see my screen okay? Yeah, cool. I've seen a few nods. Great. Awesome.
Yep.
So Traverse Automation, just a bit of an introduction to us and myself. My name is Joe Sadler. I'm the CRO here at Traverse Automation. We've just got someone joining. So hi, Stephanie. You right?
Hi.
Cool. Just kicking off with today's session, just saying how can I improve speed and accuracy when booking off system with my team. Just a bit of an introduction to us, Traverse Automation. We've been helping businesses in travel automate for over 16 years. Our CRO, our CEO, sorry, John O'Neill, has actually been writing kind of RPA solutions for roughly around about 26 years now. But ultimately, we are automation, data, and AI specialists. So we're going to talk about booking off system, excuse me, and the typical problems and things you could be doing internally, as well as solutions that can really help automate this process as well. Just to refer to kind of the usual travel booking process in probably roughly around about 60% of travel businesses, customer obviously calls in or logs a ticket for special pricing, etc. Agent will then make a booking on their usual reservation system or their usual system, and then booking is generally then completed based on certain APIs that certain companies have direct from suppliers, or working with certain companies that provide pricing directly through partners, etc. But we're going to talk about the process when booking off system. So normally when the agent is making a booking off system, this is usually on a supplier portal or somewhere else where the agent or the operator needs to get special pricing for certain quotations for a client. The agent typically then would have to copy and paste a lot of that information from a supplier portal or a website. So let's use Jet2 as an example. The agent is booking on Jet2's website, but they need that detail and that data to also sit on their internal reservation system. Obviously, this causes a lot of pain. Copying and pasting the details can take quite a lot of time. The problems that usually occur when booking off system is that we have found, after doing consultancy recently, that roughly around about 50% errors are caused by copying and pasting between systems. This could be because of spelling mistakes, typos. It could be a case of that your reservation system needs certain gaps filled out that aren't showing on the off system. This tends to create a backlog during peak times. A lot of time is wasted. Often we find that it's more than double the length of time booking between two systems than it is booking on just one, because the agent's trying to be extra cautious, extra careful in copying and pasting that information, which obviously is not only just a loss of time within the business, it's also money that can be lost when it comes to errors that are caused, money that's been lost in that resource being used in copying and pasting that information, and ultimately then can result in kind of poor customer service. So I just want to let you know, if anyone's got any questions at any point, feel free to jump in at any point. I'm happy to answer any questions around pains, and there'll be a chance for Q&A at the end of the session as well. So things that you could do to take control of the errors, which in our consultancy that we provide, we do often tell areas that you can improve on. If you've got the capabilities to track the team members that are typically making these regular mistakes, ultimately who to train at what point, etc. a lot of people don't have that visibility. So it may be a case of that you need to spend time training your team as a whole and making sure everyone's aligned and expectations are set throughout the business. Obviously, you can amend fields in certain systems. Not all reservation systems allow you to do that, to match exactly every single supplier. And especially if you're using multiple suppliers, it's very difficult to map it exactly to meet the needs of all suppliers anyway. So amending the system fields can be quite difficult. But to really kind of take control of the whole process, we've actually created a solution which we call a confirmation wizard. So this actually sits on the agent's desktop. So your agent will essentially go through our confirmation wizard and would have the supplier booking portal on one side and their internal booking system or their reservation system also on that same system. And what will happen is it will create a trigger to start the confirmation wizard. So once the agent has completed all of the fields within the off system, within direct with the supplier portal, it will then come up with, would you like to start the confirmation wizard? Once the agent clicks play, the agent will then see the their reservation system being filled out. So they'll actually see the characters from the supplier booking portal being completed in front of their eyes. Now, a lot of people have more fields on their internal reservation system than they would do on the supplier portal because it's meeting the needs of all booking. So it will actually provide triggers and prompts to the agent whilst they're going through, whilst the robots are filling out the details, to fill out any fields that need to be filled out that aren't on the supplier booking. So extra information from an internal perspective, whether that's for marketing or communication, directly with you as the company, the provider, it will trigger the agent to fill in them extra fields and not miss any information. And it will then do a quality sanity check prior to proceeding with that booking. Does anyone have any questions on this part? No? Okay, cool. Obviously the benefits of automating this process, you're taking that error rate from kind of 50% and up down to almost zero, providing your agents are completing the extra fields. The good news is that we have 24/7 processing capabilities, processing these opportunities faster, so your agents aren't sitting there doubling up on the work. Staffing not being, we've spoken to a few companies on this lately, and all of them have said that it's complaints coming directly from the agents or the operators. They're the ones that are saying, "Oh,
hey, Gav.
Sorry, did you have a question?
I'm on a webinar.
Sorry. Hello, John. Was that a question? I don't know if it was. Yeah, so obviously when it comes to the agents copy and pasting this information, a lot of the complaints are coming directly from them, saying that they're doubling up on the work, they're really struggling with the amount of work that's involved. It's a slow process, and it stops them from obviously speaking to more people and getting through to other people. So the good thing is there's no errors involved in this process when you automate it, and you're saving money, freeing up those agents to obviously speak to more people, getting more sales through the door, and ultimately, making sure that they're happy within their roles and keeping bums on seats, etc. There is a chance now for a bit of a Q&A. I'm happy to go a little bit off track, so if anyone's got any kind of specific teething problems or areas that they're struggling within personally, maybe areas that they've tried to automate in this process but have struggled and maybe have got kind of a couple of issues that they want to discuss, I'm happy to open up to the floor.
I've got a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Who am I speaking with?
So the system, the way you've just explained it there, it runs off of scanning an external, say, a supplier booking system. If I'm sure you'll be aware that not all supplier booking systems post booking have as much information as each other. If the booking system itself doesn't present us with all of the fields or as many of the fields populated as, say, for example, the actual printed booking confirmation would when that was received, can you dictate where that information comes from?
So are you saying the booking confirmation from you or from the supplier?
From the supplier, like there's I don't want to name and shame, but there's some suppliers that we work with where the actual booking, once you've filled all your booking fields in and you actually physically press that book button and you've got your confirmation number, the screen you're then presented with doesn't actually have all of the information. But when we receive the email booking confirmation, it does. So quite often our agents will access the booking confirmation, and that's when they then copy a lot of that information over. So what I'm asking is if in that scenario, instead of using the system to scan the booking screen, can we use it to scan a confirmation instead?
Yes, correct, you can. Ultimately, you would hope that your internal booking system, though, you would have the fields for that data anyway, right? Yeah. So yes, the answer is yes, we can do that. Do you immediately get the confirmation email from the supplier?
We can do, yeah.
Do you get that information on the screen at all?
Yes. In the example that I'm thinking of, yes, we could then display that on the screen. So we could use the scanner to scan the page instead of the system.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Providing it goes through our TaskFlow bot, which is basically what sits on the agent's desktop, that's fine. It's essentially mapped per supplier basis. So to give you an example, we spoke to someone the other day who uses T-Profile for their quotations, which includes, because there's about 18 stages to some of their tours. So what we're in the process of doing is doing a 3-stage mapping. So it would take the details from each of the suppliers off system input, and where there would be for the agenda of their trip, it would then be inputting each of the supplier information into their internal booking system. But it would also do a process where it would scrape from T-Profile as well, which is their quotation platform, where it kind of embeds all of the journey into one area. So it's kind of a 3-stage process, a little bit more expensive, but in them cases, it saves. Sometimes agents were taking 1 hour and 20 minutes to put through a particular booking because of the amount that was involved. So yes, to answer your question, anything is possible, providing we can have some form of visibility, whether that's PDF, visual on some form of portal, or we would make it essentially to do what you want it to do. But Stephanie's question, how long is it taking your agents to do things like this at the moment?
Our most complex is obviously our tailor-made business, so where we've got flights, tours, hotels, and then obviously as well as cruise. So that's the lengthiest part. I would say most of our most highly productive agents, is still taking them the best part of 1 hour to load. The biggest frustration for us is we've got a triple load scenario where we've got an inquiry system. As you mentioned, T-Profile, we use T-Profile as our inquiry, as our CRM. So that's the initial load of the customer information, and then we've got the quote that sits on T-Profile. Then when we actually book, we're booking all the elements with the individual suppliers, and then we then have to manually load all of those and all that individual into iSell for the for the audit and admin side of things. So we've got a triple load scenario, which is obviously very time consuming, and the biggest part for us is the human error aspect, and that's the bit that I'm trying to fix.
Well, you and 110 other businesses I've spoken to in the last 3 months. So yeah, yeah, definitely would love to catch up offline and maybe dive deeper.
Yeah, that would be good.
Feel free to, I don't know how you got here today, but either speak to the person you spoke to, get some time in with us, and then we can go from there. But yeah, very good.
Perfect.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Any kind of relatable problems that they want to air whilst they want to use to pick our brains? No? Sarah, do you have any questions?
Sorry, no, I was just going to say about, I think a lot of clients that I've spoken to have bespoke rules, and it's just how do they manage that, really?
So for what? So for certain suppliers, certain rules.
Yeah, it's different for each suppliers, and things might change. Is there a way they could manage that?
Yeah. So ultimately, when we come to putting something like Confirmation Wizard in place, it is mapped based on supplier. So each supplier has different fields, has different rules, different triggers that are needed. So yeah, ultimately it's mapped to how they want. So if there are different rules, we'll set them. But you know, we've been automating children for so long, we understand the typical pain. So if it's likely that we could do it. So I know that sounds quite broad. It's but it's the truth. Stephanie, I've actually got a question. The supplier you mentioned about not naming names, you know, feel free to share. But is that a low cost carrier by any chance?
Well, that is also the case. That wasn't specifically the one that I was thinking of, but yeah, that would be the same idea. Ryanair, I think, are quite bad for lack of information straight after the booking. You have to then go back in and access it. Mind you, we're not actually booking. We're booking Ryanair a different way now.
Are they giving you an API?
No.
I was going to say.
No. We are now booking it through our flight system because we can't, with the volume that we were booking, we were being blocked from every possible channel. So we can't access the bookings once they're made anymore. So we are now actually having to use our flight feed to book them, which is a problem in itself because we only get about 80% of their flights pulling through that feed. So that causes, but I think that's an industry-wide problem. We could probably spend 2 hours discussing.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I think by the sounds of it, I've heard that problem before, so yeah, we could talk about that as well. Does anyone else have any other questions at all before I kind of close out just with another few things? Yeah, as mentioned, this is probably one of our shortest webinars, just based on how simple the current process is for clients, and ultimately what our solution does is very simply explained. If you do want a demo of this in action, we do have a video that we can show. We can't share that on any kind of webinars or anything, because it does hold kind of test information with client data. So we can't do that in public, I guess. But what I would say is that we did have a webinar with regards to document matching, which is still available on our YouTube channels. So if anyone's struggling with supplier document matching, excuse me, we do have a very good solution that ultimately can process invoices, raise exceptions, and help with errors. And I believe, Sarah, our next webinar is on schedule change. So if you've got suppliers that notify you of change in schedule via a centralized inbox, and you are struggling to administratively crawl through your emails and notify your clients directly of any change in schedule, that might be cancellation or change, we have an automated solution that can save a lot of time and damage from a customer experience perspective in notifying your clients of any change in schedule, change in cancellation, for example, as well. So happy to get you involved in that. So keep an eye out for the next webinar. I think we're doing that in December. Sarah, is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, if no one's got any other questions at all, happy to kind of end it there. But thanks very much everyone for their time.
Thank you.
Take care.
Right.
Thank you. Bye.